All right, you ready? Wait, do we have to title this something?
This make it
Hello, everyone, and this is Garrett Bell with Denovo Realty, and today I'm sitting with Chaleah Gehrman. I said that very well. And today we're going to just kind of dive into, her background, and, she's been in the business for a couple years now. She had a really awesome start to the business, and that's the hardest part for a lot of people. So we want to give some background information for her, and then also, maybe some helpful tips for some agents getting going or even experienced agents. So Chaleah, where are you from?
I am from a little tiny town in Michigan. It's called Delton, Michigan, and that's where I grew up. I've been in Florida for almost 5 years now.
Cool, well, welcome. Florida's got much better weather anyways.
Yes, there's still snow in Michigan, so I'm glad I'm not there.
Don't have to worry about that. The coronavirus we have to worry about now. Okay, so why did you choose real estate?
So I always knew that I wanted to be in real estate. When I was in college, I managed an apartment complex, about 180 units. And
wow, that's a lot of...
Yeah. It was
a lot of college, and they were all college kids?
There was a mix.
Okay.
It was by a college campus, though, so we did have quite a few college students. But I always knew that I had an interest in real estate, and so I knew I wanted to get into it then. But when I was in college, right after I graduated, I accepted a full-time position where I was interning at in a business development position.
And business development is for real estate agents is one of the most important things. So
yes, exactly.
That was good, and we're going to dive into why that is. So that was a good background for sure. Mm-hmm. And so on that, business development and business generation is the biggest hurdle for real estate agents, in my opinion. And the failure rate for agents in their first 5 years is super high. It's like 87%. Mm-hmm. So you kind of had like a good start where you're doing business right away. You're definitely a hustler, and that helped out a lot. But kind of tell us some of the things you did towards the beginning of your career to kind of get going, because you came from Delton, yes, Michigan, down to Brevard County, Florida, and didn't know very many people here, right?
Correct. I didn't have a sphere. I didn't have a database of people. I was starting fresh. Yes. No family that was down here either, so that was a big hurdle to pass.
Yes, no. Yes, for sure. I'm born and raised here, so I don't have any excuses when I was selling houses. So, so tell us kind of about that. What was some of the first things you did to start to generate a business, and then where did you learn those things from?
Right. So the first thing that I did, I started investing in online leads. I knew I had to build up a database somehow, and I didn't already have that. So I started online leads with Zillow, and I started with investing just $1,000, and then as $1,000 a month. As I started seeing a return on that, I started investing a little bit more, and I did that for a good 6 months, 6-month period. It took me about 4 months to get my first couple of deals. The fourth month there, I actually ended up closing 7 deals.
Wow.
Yep, my first actual month of income.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And for anybody inside or outside of the business, coming into a whole new career path that you've never done before, and then being willing to take the risk, regardless of any agent's thoughts on Zillow, taking the risk of spending that amount of money with, you're just getting started, it's a totally unknown. So that's really huge.
Yeah. The funny thing is when I got into real estate, I knew I needed to change because I wasn't making enough money in my current job to keep up on all of my bills, my student loan payments, everything. So I actually only had $4,000 left on a credit card. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take this $4,000 on a credit card. Don't even have it in the bank. And I invested in the Zillow leads. And I'm like, all right, I have 4 months to do this, to make an income. So, that 4th month, sure enough, I had all of those closings. And then the first thing I did from then, I invested all of that money into a real estate coach. I got a coach because I knew the fastest way to succeed is to learn from others' mistakes and not have to make those mistakes myself. So mentoring is definitely key for me.
Yeah, you are pretty smart.
Yeah. So it was, it was definitely a good move on my part. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And for anybody, any business background, it's always super scary taking a risk like that, especially when you're putting it on credit and you don't have the money and you don't have any idea if it's going to work. So that's really cool. So then you've had a good experience with your real estate coaching?
Yes. So my first year in real estate closed a little over 50 transactions, and my second year in real estate, with the help of my coach, I did the same number of transactions but doubled my income.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So tell me, kind of what made you, on that you dived into the online leads, which probably being of the younger generation is, part of that. So did you do some research on before you chose, doing the Zillow leads? Like, where did you find that information? Were you just online or?
Mm-hmm. So I did a little bit of research about online leads, and when I was doing it, Zillow didn't have a lot of the stuff that they have now. But
for better or for worse?
For worse, unfortunately. I kind of got in it at the right time and then got out as soon as Zillow really started taking over and taking on their own listings and whatnot. So I got in a really good time with Zillow and I got out at the right time too.
So you learned a lot either way.
Yes, yeah.
And things are always changing in real estate. So, and I've had experiences with Zillow myself, and there's good, bad, and ugly, and agents always have really strong opinions on that. So.
Yes, the key to Zillow, or really any online lead that some people don't realize, it's all in the follow-up.
Yes.
When I would get a new lead, I had them on a 10-day lead conversion plan, and it's one that actually Zillow created. And every single day for 10 days, I would contact them in various forms multiple times a day. So as soon as I got a new lead, I would send them a text message, a phone call, and then I would follow up with an email. If they didn't answer, I did the same thing the next day, and then I would try to find them on social media, connect with them that way. And one of the things I see agents struggling with is they think that they're following up too much. But really, in sales, you can't follow up too much.
Yeah.
You have to call consistently and multiple times and contact them through various different forms.
And sometimes those are, I feel like those have been the most rewarding, especially, for myself, where you talk to someone the first time and, they're angry or they give you kind of a negative response. And then, you chat with them for a little bit, and then you contact them again, and all of a sudden, they end up, you kind of like build trust with them, and they end up liking you and wanting to do business with you. But it's always, because, especially as agents on the other end, we get calls from Zillow or from other like online marketers, and you're like, leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone. And so I totally get it from the other end as well. But, when you're able to build that communication, build that trust, eventually, they're like, all right, this person, they're hungry, they're wanting some business, and they're going to do a good job for me because they're not, afraid. Because now when, you're on their side and now you're fighting for them, you're going above and beyond for them, and they see that from both ends. So that's really awesome.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So what do you think was like the biggest, not being in real estate and then getting in, what was the biggest learning curve?
The biggest learning curve, let's see. The biggest thing is just finding the right programs that work for you. Mm-hmm. I went through multiple different CRMs, trying to find the right one.
Oh, God.
So that was pretty difficult. And you really have to have a good program that works well for you. And really figuring out a way to get everything automated. That's a challenge as well.
Building systems for sure is one of the biggest things from, you can do a certain amount of business, and then at a certain point, if you don't have the right systems in place, you're just like going to, shoot yourself in the foot because things are just going to start, balls are going to get dropped. You're not going to follow up with the people, so you have to have the systems in place. So that's huge. Mm-hmm. So you learned all that in your first couple of years, which is really amazing. So good for you.
Yeah.
So, in your first year, tell me one of the craziest things that happened to you, whether it was on a showing appointment, transaction, or anything like that.
Oh, gosh. Well, I think one of my most embarrassing moments showing a house is I was showing a house, and there were 2 stories, and the front door was right at the top of the stairs. So I am sitting there struggling, and every real estate agent knows how big of a pain it can be when you can't get the door to lock or unlock.
Oh, God.
Your clients are standing there, looking over your shoulder, breathing over your, and you're just like, trying to get it to work. So I'm sitting here, and I am pulling as hard as I can on the door handle to try to get it to close all the way and lock. As I'm pulling on it, the entire doorknob comes off of the door. The stairs are drunk, and it's a full flight of stairs. There's probably at least 10 stairs there.
No way.
So I'm pulling, the door handle comes up, and I slide down my back in a dress all the way down these stairs.
Oh my God.
My clients, of course, felt terrible. I'm sitting there like getting on, it's okay.
Were they inside the house?
No, they were right next to me, like standing to the side.
So they got to watch you go boom, 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 boom.
Yes. Completely knocked the wind out of me. And it was just.
So did they buy that house?
They didn't end up buying that one, but they bought
a house.
One.
Okay.
I think that they didn't want to fall down the stairs either.
That's good. That's not a good. Yeah, if you do that in the house, they're probably going to do that in the next buyer.
Right.
So definitely fall down the stairs. Well, that's a good one. You recovered quick though.
Yeah. Once I kind of caught my breath again, because definitely knocked the wind out of me.
It definitely gives you another level of relationship with your clients though. Once they see you falling down a set of stairs, they go, okay, and you jump back up. You're like, all right, this is my agent here. I can't go anywhere else. You just fell down a flight of steps for me. Oh, that's good. That's good. Coming from Michigan, what is your least favorite thing about Florida? Because everybody from whether it's the bugs or whatever.
Yeah. So I really like Florida. I like everything about it. The only thing that I miss about Michigan are all the big, huge green trees. You would have tall trees as you're driving down the road, and here, in the summertime, everything just kind of turns brown.
Brown and flat.
Yeah.
Hot and flat. Welcome to Florida.
Which I didn't know.
Come on down, everyone.
Exactly. And I didn't know that when I came here. I'm like, why is everything dying in the summertime? Well, I guess it's the dry months in the summertime, and in the wintertime, everything's a little more green. So
that's Florida.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me something that you wish you knew before you got into real estate, before you started.
Okay. One thing that I wish that I would have known, or at least knew a lot earlier, that your I guess well-being and your mental state of mind is really important. And
amen.
Yeah. And sometimes you do come across, clients or people that you're working with, and they're just not worth it to work with. The amount of stress that they're putting on you, whether that's, mentally, or you're just stressed out because you need to have a conversation with them about the sale of their home. It's not going the way that you want it to go, for various reasons. And no matter what the value is of the home or the amount of money that you can make, your well-being is more important than that. So it's not a bad thing to necessarily fire clients.
Yeah, that's 100% true. Is, obviously agent, especially at the beginning, you're like really wanting to generate business. You'll do anything for a client essentially, but there definitely comes a time where it's, when it's costing you your own health because of how, whether it's an angry customer or someone putting so much stress on you. I think I definitely have some stories about that. And, as an example, there are people who I think the biggest one is the people that have zero respect for your time. And I had a guy, and it was, I hope he watched this video. And, the one that pops out in my head was, he had zero respect for anything. And just a quick example is I went on a very brief 4-day vacation, and he must have called me 15 times knowing that I was on vacation. But the questions that he asked me, things like how Facebook works and, things that didn't have anything to do with the transaction, but would talk to me for and was never nice the entire time, but would ask me, just really off the wall questions. And anyways, that ended up never working out, never made $1 off it, lost a lot of money on marketing the house. And it was something that, looking back on, I would have saved 5 years of my life if I never took on that client. So,
Yep.
Very good point.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. It's important to have somebody that respects your time, because you are a business owner and you do own your business, and they have to have a certain level of respect for you too. And it's really important to have that in a client. And if you're not getting that level of respect from them, or they're putting you down, or they're not nicely telling you how to do your job because they think that they know more than you, is just not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And
you had to draw a line at some point,
yeah.
and a lot of people will cross it, because we're in a weird business where everybody has our cell phones and everybody can contact us at any hour of the day, and there are no days off, nights, weekends, anything. So when you have the people that don't respect anything, there's a point where I wish I never took this client. So all right, last question: favorite Netflix show?
Oh my gosh.
Maybe not even of all time, but just any ones you're watching now, or any of your favorite ones of all time.
Yep. So I just got done watching Good Girls. That was
I've not seen it. I don't know why. It sounds like a show that I would really like.
It's it's a good show. It's about these two sisters and a friend, and they kind of somehow get involved in the drug world, and they turn out to be I don't know. It's a comedy, but it's also an action show too. But it's a good show.
I may or may not check that out. All right. Well, that is your intro to Chaleah, and we are very happy to have her here at Denovo Realty. And thanks for spending some time with us.
Yes, of course. I'm so happy to be here. Bye.
Bye.